Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Steel Sanctuary podcast. I'm your host, Dave Rivero from steelsanctuary.com, and this is my co-host, David Korob. Dave, what's going on?
Hey, what's up, brother?
Dave, we learned one important thing this week. Brian McFadden's sources suck. It's that
Yes,
simple.
yes, they
Um,
do.
he had us all excited, something imminent happening with a playmaker, blah blah blah. Then he backtracked on it and said it was third or fourth hand, and this and that. Like you can't, as a
Well, if
as
it's
a
third or fourth
personality.
hand, then why put it out there like you got a direct source, brother? You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying? Like, come on, what
and
we
you're
doing?
you're a podcast, you're a media guy now. If you're gonna throw something out there like that, and people get stuff wrong, but don't come and say it's fourth hand. I'm sorry, but come on, man, you're better than that.
Yes,
What else we got in news? Chase Claypool back in the NFL, Buffalo Bills. What is going on?
Mapletron just making his rounds.
Mapletron, I forgot about that.
Making his rounds. Good for him. If he can get a team to be that fucking stupid and still give him a shot, hey, good for him.
Yeah,
Whatever.
I mean, there is always the possibility that he grows up and starts taking football seriously. There's no doubt he's talented.
Well,
It's
you
just
saw what he can do, and
yeah,
we saw what he did his rookie season. I mean, shit.
yep.
I think it got in his head, to be honest with you, and
Oh
he
yeah,
he
one hundred
he like
percent.
became a celebrity overnight or something. I think it went to his
Yep.
head. If he can just clear that out and just realize, hey, you know, I'm not this big time celebrity football player. Like I gotta pay attention and get my head in the game and become a better player. But to me, this is more of a sign of the Bills. Like
Yeah, the
they
Bills.
are they are toast.
Yeah,
Like, wow. Like, I mean, it was a max exodus off that team. And you're talking about the kind of guys you're bringing in, that's who you choose. Like, I don't know. From their perspective, like,
yeah. Maybe it's just
damn.
a cheap dart throw. Maybe they get lucky. Who knows?
Uh, yeah, I'm just saying.
Yeah,
Just saying.
for sure. And I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't
Yeah.
endorse it. But Dave, the wide receiver free agent market is getting pretty thin now at this point.
Yeah.
I guess rumors are Tyler Boyd's going to Tennessee. I don't think it's been confirmed yet. I looked it up just before we get on. Nothing concrete, but it sounds like he's going to Tennessee. The Chargers got DJ Chark, who was probably the best guy left on the
Yeah.
market.
Yeah. I was kind of hoping and saw other people saying
Yeah.
they think that's who they're going to go after. But yeah, didn't happen.
And then,
But
not that I wanted Odell Beckham, but he's off to the Dolphins, so it's just another name off the board.
oh, did the Dolphins sign him?
Yes, they did.
Let me take this opportunity to thank them. Their sacrifice will
Yes, I
not be
agree,
forgotten. Thank you.
100%. When people started connecting OBJ with the Steelers, I'm like, please don't do that. Please don't do that.
Yeah, there ain't no way. Mm-mm.
So, no free agent. We haven't heard much from the trade stuff lately. I don't know what the Steelers going to do with wide receiver too. We've kind of backed themselves in a little bit of a corner here, right? I mean,
Yeah, oh, no
what are
doubt.
we going to do?
I don't think they're going to do anything.
You think they're happy with what they have?
They're going to have to be. What choice do they have? They
They
can't
can still
force a
make a
team to trade
trade,
them.
but yeah,
That's about it. That's all they can do. They,
yeah,
I like. Don't get me wrong, though. I'm pretty excited about Roman Wilson. I gotta be honest.
yeah.
I like that kid, and I think
He's
he actually is going to be effective for them. Um,
he's but he's a slot guy, right? He's not really an outside guy yet.
right now, I would put him in the slot.
Yeah,
That's just me. But he could do some damage from the slot. And look,
yeah, agreed.
I when we get to our winners and losers here in this segment, I'll talk about them a little more. But I just to me, I think that they're big on him, and I've seen some film and see why. So, but I think they put himself in the corner before we even got into the draft, and now they're gonna have to roll with Pickens and Van Jefferson and Roman Wilson and CA3 and see where it goes.
It's not a good group. I mean,
No, was it Des Watkins? Is
yeah,
the other
Des
one that got?
Watkins is,
You
yep,
know,
yep.
look, a lot of speed with that. Not counting George, but the rest of them, a lot of speed there. But
Not much
you know,
else.
we'll see what we'll see. But
A lot of
uh,
retreads and
yeah, so you know, I they're gonna have to trade, but I think the Steelers are now seeing to where to make it happen, they're gonna be the ones that have to give up more than they want to. They're gonna have to budge a little more, probably.
yeah.
That's what happens when you do this.
I mean, I keep going back to Traylon Burks. He's the guy that seems to be the cheapest, especially if Tennessee gets Tyler Boyd now. He's definitely on the
Yeah.
market, and they have so
Right.
many receivers now. Um, that seems like the guy. I don't think San Francisco's trading a wide receiver now.
And that's
I really
crazy
don't.
because they are stacked
Yeah,
at wide
they
receiver
drafted
now.
Ricky
Like
Pearsall in the first
they're gonna
round.
have to invent a lot of 4 wide receiver sets of something.
Yeah,
That's a lot of mouths to feed now. Like,
and
holy
plus the
shit.
tight end and with
Right.
the,
That's what I'm
and
saying.
yeah,
I mean,
nuts.
that's incredible. Like I don't know, man. Like that stuff that they have to trade one of them. I would like to think they would. One of them.
If it's going to be one, it's going to be Debo Samuel because he's older. He's a little bit
Yeah.
more beat up. And do
Yeah.
you want to get into that? I guess for a year or two, if you go in YOLO for 2024, I
Yeah.
guess you take. I love Debo. I've said it a million times on Twitter. I love the way he plays. I love everything about him. But if you're trading for him in that contract and his injury concerns, that's a little scary.
Yeah. He's a playmaker though. I mean, he is good. So
Absolutely, he's a good fucking
if he
player.
stays
But
healthy, holy shit,
yeah,
But
how many guys are we going
yeah,
to say about that about the Steelers in 2024?
I
If they
know.
stay healthy, if this one stays healthy, that's
No, you're not wrong.
all right. Let's get to the kind of the big news of the week. The Steelers did not pick up Najee Harris's fifth-year option. I was
Yeah.
initially shocked by it, honestly. Um, the more I think about it, yeah, I could go either way. Um, my feelings on Najee. I don't think he's a big time back.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a good running back.
Good.
Just I
Not
think
great.
he's a good run. I think he's a good running back. Is he a
Yeah.
home run hitter? No, we know that. We've had how many years now? He's not taken one to the house.
No.
He can't. So it's one of them things. But and I had a lot of questions for you with this stuff because I just wanted to pick your brain on this because I mean, for a couple of years now, you were a pretty big, uh, very critical of Najee Harris.
Yep.
And then this last season, you kind of turned a leaf a little bit with that and was like, okay, no, he's
Mhm.
good. He is good. And a lot of people, the Najee Hive, criticized you a lot heavily. And then you see them not do the 5th-year option, and you're like, And then you decide you're like, wow, remember that time where I was like, hey, I'm not
I
sure
got
this is
killed
a
for
great
it.
idea.
I
Right?
got
You got
killed
killed
for it.
for it. And it's like, and all of a sudden you get a new GM and you get, Andy Weidel and guys that know how things are supposed to be done.
Mhm.
And weird, we're not giving 5th-year, options to running
Running
backs.
backs. Yeah.
Huh. So first question is and I wrote a ton down. So because I've seen other people raise these questions, and I was curious to see what you thought. So one of
Okay.
them that I saw floated was, do you think that some of Najee's comments throughout last season rubbed Tomlin and the Steelers the wrong way, to where maybe they're like, maybe we might be ready to give you one more year and move on that route.
It's a good question because he took some indirect shots at Tomlin and the locker room.
Yeah.
And how we're sick of this shit and how we need leaders. And I think he said there's no, what did he say one time? Like there's no, how did he put it? There's no structure or something.
There's no accountability.
No accountability. That's
accountability.
It. Those are
like
kind of indirect shots at Tomlin. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if Tomlin's got a sore ass over that and kind of changed his opinion a little bit. Because I know in the beginning, Mike Tomlin loved Najee Harris, would always stick up for him. There was some dissent this year, though, between those two guys. You could kind of feel it from some of the comments coming out of Najee Harris. It's a good point. I think they're more afraid of the injury thing because it's a guaranteed contract for that 5th year. It's not a lot of money, but it's guaranteed. So if he gets injured this year, they're stuck. You're stuck with him,
So another question I got: you think they are just admitting that there were mistakes made by your boy Colbert, and they're just trying to get with the times, basically?
Yes, I've heard people say Omar is cleaning out Kevin Colbert's guys. I think there's something to that. I do.
Okay.
I do think that Mike Tomlin wanted Najee Harris every bit as much as Kevin Colbert. I think they're both equally responsible for that pick.
Yeah, there's no doubt.
Mike Tomlin was making googly eyes at him in Alabama in that pro day, like there was no tomorrow. So, but yeah, I think Omar Khan's making a concerted effort to clean out Kevin Colbert's guys, whether you like them or not. I think there is something to that.
Another one is I've seen people raise the question that it's just purely a motivational tactic. Do you buy any of that?
I don't. I don't think the Steelers operate like that. I think it's going to work out in their favor. I think it's like a byproduct because he's going to be pissed off and he's going to be, motivated because he's going into free agency. But I don't think that's the way they work necessarily. I don't think that's why they did it. I just think it just works in their favor by accident, not by choice.
So another one is, do you think, just like with Justin Fields, the goal is actually to sign him long term at a cheaper price per year?
Not maybe with Justin Fields, but not with Najee.
Okay, so
They know
strictly
Najee
Justin Fields.
Harris because he was in that Zoom call with all the running backs when they
Oh
were
yeah,
talking
he
about
was, wasn't he? He was.
about they're underpaid and all that bullshit. And
Yeah.
Najee's not taking a lesser contract. And I tweeted out earlier, he'll be lucky to get more than $7 million a season, Dave. I don't know if
Yeah,
he.
I know.
I don't know. I mean, let me pull up the top 10 running backs real quick.
Yeah, you do that. I thought my stand, got my drink on's about to collapse. Step offline here a little quick. Okay, there we go. To make sure it's good. All right.
Christian McCaffrey's the highest paid running back at 16 million per.
Okay.
The top 10, the 10th guy is Miles Sanders at 6.4. James Conner is 9th at 7 million. And then it's Tony Pollard at 10 million. So somewhere in there.
Yeah.
He could get, if he stays healthy and has another 1,000-yard season, that'd be 5 in a row.
Look, he's the only one to do 3,000-yard season consecutively. He's one of the few to do that.
So I guess he could get into the 10 million range.
That's pretty good when you think about it. Just strictly yards. I mean, that's pretty good. What's another one I got here? People were, oh man, dude, I got in a conversation yesterday. I wanted to bash my head off a fucking wall. This guy just kept hammering it about how is this going to affect the locker room. So I'm asking you, is this going to affect the goddamn locker room? Because Jesus.
No, I don't think that's such a big deal. I really don't. I mean, he is one of the leaders in the locker room. I'm sure he's got his guys that are going to be mad, but that stuff blows over when the season starts. I don't think that they know it's a business. They know. The players know. They care more about themselves than teammates most of the time anyway. I don't think that's a big deal.
Okay. Yeah, I personally I think it can be taken so many ways that why would the locker room be that upset over a fifth-year option? Because there's so many things the Steelers could do where it could be they just want to sign him long-term, hypothetically, or something like that. Why the locker room would get that so up in arms over it? I just don't.
I'm not buying it.
I don't see it.
And it might work out for Najee because he gets the free agency a year earlier.
Yeah.
So that might work out for him in the long run.
Other one I got is, do you think this is more about seeing if he can succeed or not in Arthur Smith's offense?
Yeah, I'm not buying that either.
Not buying that either?
Arthur Smith's a running offensive coordinator. How is Najee Harris not going to do well in this offense?
Hey, I see the experts float this see if he wants to succeed in Arthur Smith's offense. Yeah, it's just like
that's the Steelers blowing smoke.
Yeah,
telling their guys that but this is the reason we didn't do it. Try to let Najee off easy, but they're afraid of the injury. This guy's has more touches than any other running back in the league. I think the last 4 years, or he's got to be in the top 3 at worst.
Right.
He's going to break down eventually. Is it this year? Is it next year when he's guaranteed $7 million? The Steelers don't want to deal with that, and I don't blame him. If he
last thing I got for you is, would you sign him long term?
No, 100%. I've steadfast on that the whole time. I'd go one more year. I talked myself into the 5th-year option, and I was okay with that because him and Warren became such a dynamic, 1-2 punch, but not past 25. No way.
Yeah,
draft somebody new.
I personally do want to see what happens this year with him, and see if he does show anything that they haven't seen. Right?
Yeah, I don't.
I mean, it's. I think we know that answer, but at the same time, I personally just want to give him one more year before I would ever make that kind of move of giving him a long contract. But he's got to show me something that would really make me want to be like, maybe I'd rather go Warren. I could go Warren full time.
Yeah.
And that's the thing. Like a Jaylen Warren who you got off the street has proven to be
That's
just
it.
as good, if not better, in some categories. So you're kind of like, man, why would I not just deal with that more than anything? I just, but yeah, I don't know. This is all stuff I've seen brought up all over Twitter, all over online, and I figured I was like, you know what? I'm gonna throw all this at you and see what you think.
It's been the talking point of the week. And the Steelers, signed this undrafted kid from Georgia, who I've been reading that people like as a
Yeah,
running back prospect.
yeah,
Who knows if that kid doesn't become the next Jaylen Warren? I mean, that's the way the running back position is, man.
yep.
I got some interesting stuff for you too on this. Um, no fifth-year options have been taken by the Steelers, picked up by the Steelers since T.J. Watt in 2000,
Wow.
since the 2017 draft. They have let Minkah in between. Technically, they picked up that option, but Miami drafted him. They didn't draft him.
Right.
So, yeah, that's another mark against my boy Kevin Colbert that these first round picks last few years have not worked out. Um, they haven't drafted well the last 5 years until last season and now this season. So hopefully that continues. OTAs are voluntary. Dave, does Najee Harris show up for those, or does he start minimizing his risk a little bit and not showing up for these things?
We can see this. We can see, the whole. Yeah, I'm gonna worry about my health more, so
Yeah.
I'm not gonna show up.
And
We
the
can
other
see it.
question I had is, do you think he holds in like TJ and all that, shows up for practices but doesn't do anything?
TJ's was a weird one. It was like one of those. I'm here, but I'm not actually
Yeah,
practicing.
that's what I mean. Do you think Najee does
It,
that too?
I no. See, I think he'd be more like not come at all. Like I'm not coming. Period.
Well, if he doesn't, like, OTAs are voluntary, but then when minicamp starts, that's mandatory. They can fine him if he
Oh yeah,
doesn't
I
come to
know.
that.
I
And
don't
I
think
don't think
he's
he
gonna
would pull
go
that.
like Lev Bell air like level, but I don't think he's gonna go TJ level either. I think it's gonna be in the middle. He's not gonna show up for voluntary,
No, I wouldn't think so.
but
I kind of
he'll
tend to
show
think,
up for whenever it starts hitting
and then he'll just stand
his
around in
pay.
pads
Yeah,
and not do anything.
right.
Yeah, that's what
Yeah,
I'm thinking. You know, and then when the games start, I can see him even telling them, don't put me in a preseason either. Week one, I'm ready to go. But until then, and they'll make up some excuses too, like, oh, we're going to hold Najee out. He's got a little thing.
yeah.
We're not going
He's
to put him in
banged
the
up.
preseason.
Got a
Yeah.
stinger. Yeah, yeah.
I could see some of that stuff happening. Well, Dave, his partner, Jaylen Warren, had some shit to say this week, didn't he?
Oh Jesus, dude.
Jesus Christ. I mean, let's take the Justin Fields thing first.
And he was joking, and people like ran with it.
People ran with it. They're still running with it. Still running with it.
I know. I'm seeing people do full blown articles about it. It's like people. He was fucking joking. Like, calm the fuck down. Like, good lord. I couldn't even imagine. Could you imagine Justin Fields being like, yeah, dude, I return kicks. That's what I got brought here for. Like, no. Like, come on.
Yeah, it's kind of ridiculous.
And they brought in Patterson.
Yeah.
So why in the world would they bring in Cordell Patterson if they don't plan to use him for that? He specifically brought him in for that kind of stuff. So it doesn't make any sense. Like, I come on. I just, people are stupid.
I wouldn't mind seeing a package for him on offense where they,
Oh yeah, absolutely.
throw him out there for, put two quarterbacks in the backfield or something like crazy like
absolutely.
that.
Run a wildcat, whatever. Like, absolutely. If you got something you can put together for him specifically to use that as a weapon, fuck yeah, do it. Absolutely.
Yeah. All right. The other thing that Jaylen Warren said, and this is very telling. He was asked, what's it like having Russell Wilson and Justin Fields as teammates? And I'll give you the direct quote. It's night and day difference, I would say, with their leadership. They bring a lot and they help out. They tell us how to run the route, and they're really on it. And when you don't run it a certain way, he just ran over Kenny Pickett, backed up and ran him over again, backed up and ran him over again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Dave, the more you hear, this Kenny Pickett pick was an utter and complete disaster.
Oh, well, yeah.
We knew he was fringely talented enough to be a first round pick, maybe. And it turned out he wasn't. But then the leadership and the competitiveness and and there was nothing there. Like, he didn't have anything. Just a horrible pick. It's
Yeah,
worse than we thought, and I
I,
was down on it, but I was like, well, maybe he'll be a mid quarterback, and we'll be stuck in that rut. He's not even a mid quarterback. The dude doesn't even want to compete.
oh, yeah, but dude, but then you get like people like that Aditi King Kabbalah that are like talking about, oh, you don't know half of what he went through.
Stop
And
it.
you and then
Stop it.
no, oh no, it gets better. And then she's on a Cleveland broadcast
I
today
saw it. I was going to
talking
bring that
mad
up.
shit on Russell Wilson.
Throwing
It,
Russell Wilson under the bus. Whew.
oh, I mean, it's just like, what are you, a Kenny Stan? Like, what the fuck is this? Like, Kenny Pickett was like, what? He was just great and just had so many things against him. The guy couldn't throw more than a touchdown per every 6 games. Like, what are we talking about here? Dude, just trash. When I hear this shit.
It's funny with her. She must have had Kenny Pickett as a source or something. And now that he's gone, she's pissed. So she's going to defend her guy. And she must have some kind of link with the Denver coach because the shit she threw out there
Yeah.
to cover his ass in case, because if Russell Wilson has a good season, he looks like an idiot.
I actually took a picture of what was said. Give me 1 second here. So she said, for those that are listening that don't know, they're watching. He was constantly climbing out of the back of the pocket. He struggled with snap counts. He couldn't manage or handle the play calling. She's talking about Russell Wilson, for anybody that doesn't understand. They went from putting a wristband on him to by the end of the season, all the play calls had to be 2 words, and everybody else was required to know what the play calls were. So you're telling me that Russell Wilson was that bad? Like, this guy is a Super Bowl winning quarterback, and I'm supposed to believe he couldn't comprehend play calls?
He doesn't strike me as a dumb guy. You listen to him talk, and
right.
I can't believe this report. I don't know where she got this from. I can't imagine it's true. I mean, I can't. I mean, he needed wristbands, and even that wasn't good enough. They needed 2-word play calls. Come on. I don't know about that. Then he played well in the second half of the season.
Right.
It's wild stuff from Aditi. She knows how to stir the pot. That's how she gets.
So, and that's the best part about this. If he was that bad, how does he go 26-8 TD to interception ratio? 4th best in the entire league. A passer rating better than Patrick Mahomes. Come on.
Yeah,
like,
just
I don't know
ridiculous. If Sean Payton's feeding her this stuff to make himself look good, or if she's just making it up out of the blue. Who the fuck knows? But I don't know. I can't believe the stuff that.
But I'm hearing this shit and I'm just rolling my eyes. Like, okay, yeah, sure.
It's not possible, right? I mean,
look, there were definitely issues. Okay, I'm not going to argue this. Okay, there were definitely issues, and they're paying him millions and millions not to play for him. Clearly, him and Sean Payton did not get along, and that's the gist of it. Is there were issues, there were things that him and Sean Payton disagreed on, and I think that's what made it me so bad. But as far as his performance goes, he was fine last season. The season before that, he was playing with a bad lat injury. Yep. So, yeah, he was going to suck the year before that. But, I saw so much footage of his wide receivers and tight ends and all them dropping the ball on him. Mm-hmm. There was a lot more involved than just him. There was tons of other stuff. But whatever.
You know that old saying, Dave, when things are slow and you need a little traffic, just knock the Steelers hive. And you'll be all over the,
you create your own activity there.
Yep. All right. I talked to Dave before the podcast. We want to do some winners and losers from the draft. Listen, the Steelers draft's been universally praised. Like every way you look, people are giving them A's, A pluses. It was a great draft, blah, blah, blah. And it was. We think it was anyway. But I'm sure not everyone is happy with the way the draft turned out. And there's some people that are related, I'm sure. So we're going to go through a couple of examples of each of people who benefited from the draft and people who might not have. Do you want to go first, Dave? Or you want me to go first?
I can go first. I don't care. The guy we were just talking about, Russell Wilson. No one holds the ball longer than Russell Wilson.
Number one.
Now he's got a bona fide center. He's got a top pick at right tackle, I would think, that's going to protect his blind side. He's actually a left-handed thrower. So there you go. I would say that's definitely a winner there. Because if he's dealing with the O-line that we had last season, not great.
Yeah, no.
So
not great, Bob.
Not great. So look, he's definitely a winner in this. And you can say Justin Fields too, because they both were like top, I think, 2 and holding the ball in
Yeah,
the
they were top
longest.
2. Yeah, pulled the
So
ball the longest. Yeah.
now you've got no line where, man, 1 through 5 is all solid across the board. And then I could say 6 with the McCormick pick, because he's another mauler. I'll get to him when we talk about some other people. But in general, I think definitely Russell Wilson was a big winner with this draft.
Yeah, let's stick with winners and then we'll do losers after.
Absolutely.
Another pretty obvious one. We'll get the obvious ones out of the way first. Najee Harris and Jaylen Warren.
Yeah.
The line should be a lot better. They had to deal with a lot of trash in the backfield last year. They were, breaking 3 tackles before they ever passed the line of scrimmage. This year should be a lot better. It might be rough early because if everything works out, there'll be a lot of moving pieces. But I think by mid-season, this should be a pretty awesome line, opening some pretty big holes for those guys. And it's just they're improved at almost every position.
Yeah, like my thing is that there's nothing's going to improve the run game more than drafting not 1, not 2, but 3 maulers in the run game. All 3 of those guys in their own right are maulers in the run game. And then on top of that, now that's going to help the passing game. So you're not going to have teams stacking the box with 8, 9 people to stop the run because they know that's all you've got. That's why we lost that Buffalo game also. It's because they stacked the box and knew we stopped the run. They're cooked. They will literally, the whole game will be on Mason Rudolph's arm. And he tried his best. Whatever. Credit to him. But they knew if they stopped the run, most teams did, that we were cooked with whoever was back there quarterback. So this helps the passing game, which is now going to open up things for the running game. And they're definitely winners in this for sure.
You got another winner?
Oh, yeah, absolutely. George Pickens. Look, Roman Wilson is an exceptional route runner. He's got hands. I think he's going to give defenses problems in the slot. I really do believe that. And I think he's going to be like this kind of, and I think I told you this already, he's going to be like a poor man's Deontay Johnson. I know you might think I'm crazy saying that, but I watched the film of his route run. He's really good. Mm-hmm. And I think that it's going to cause teams to not be able to double George Pickens as much. So I think that's a big deal. So I think George is going to cook. Here's another thing. Now he's going to have time to run his routes with this O-line that's improved. And I think that helps a lot too. Now he'll have time to run his routes. Yep. And he won't have to worry about being in the middle of his route and got, Kenny Pickett chucking the ball 10 feet behind him or something. I just think that but all his draft overall helped him too.
Absolutely. I picked Van Jefferson. They passed on A.D. Mitchell. They passed on a couple guys, outside receivers. So as we stand right now, Van Jefferson is a starting wide receiver for the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Yes.
He's like one of those guys dodging bullets, man. Draft guys go by. Free agent signings go by, and he's still there. Yeah. Not drafting an outside wide receiver. As much as what you've said about Roman Wilson, I agree with all of it. He's probably going to be a slot guy. Yeah. Which means
I just think he's going to be a really good slot guy.
Yeah.
I think
absolutely. So as it stands right now, Van Jefferson is one of the luckiest guys on the football team.
Yeah.
Because his position is still there. Who else you got?
My last winner I got is Broderick Jones. Drafting Fautanu should hopefully mean that Jones gets to go back to left tackle where he's comfortable and it's natural for him, and then he'll succeed more. That's what I'm hoping happens. So I think he should consider himself a winner too.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. If he gets moved back to left tackle, he definitely benefits from this. I got a couple more. Corey Trice and Darius Rush. They didn't draft a corner till the 6th round. So those 2 guys are the backups right now. Right. And it seems, and Dave, you could put them in pen to make the team because.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, we still have to go through, cut down day where maybe a good corner gets cut or a decent backup corner gets cut and the Steelers snatch one of them up. But until then, those 2 guys are the depth. That's about it.
No, I agree.
They passed on a lot of good corners too. Quinyon Mitchell was available when they, in the 1st round when they drafted. So those guys caught a huge break. And my last guy is our friend Pat Meyer. I've had my issues with him. I don't think, I've said it 1,000 times on this podcast. Show me one offensive lineman who's improved since he took over as offensive line coach, and you're not going to find one. But now this line is so loaded. I don't even he can't screw this up, right? I mean, there's no way.
If he does, we know where he needs to go.
Yep. And he's got a lot riding on this year because Arthur Smith didn't hire him. He inherited him.
Oh yeah, I know.
So if they don't,
I'm
if he's
surprised
not
he
happy with
survived
him,
it. I
yeah,
can't believe he survived it. I thought for sure Arthur Smith would be like, "You got to go, Jack."
yeah, I was hoping that he was going to
Yeah.
say that, but didn't work out. So yeah, Pat Meyer is a big winner from the Steelers draft. All right, hit me with some of your losers. I know there's quite a few.
All right. I think this is the obvious one, which
Yeah.
is Dan Morgan. It's the beginning of the end, man. Uh,
That's for sure.
Favatano is his replacement. He knows it. We know it. He had 3 years to prove his worth, and it isn't that much. So I'll tell you what, I'll give that kid credit. Like he called Favatano to congratulate him
that.
and welcome.
Yep.
And he did it for Broderick last year. Like I really like that sportsmanship about him. I mean, that's really what I do like about the guy, but that's really about it. So,
Yeah.
but he's I think there's speculation that he could start this season still there.
Yeah, you
But
know how
after
Mike
that-
Tomlin rolls.
Yeah, after that, I think
Yeah, if you're the starting left tackle and they draft left tackles in the first round back-to-back years, that's not a good sign. I posted this on Twitter earlier this week too. If I were him, I'd ask for a trade. I'm like, this is his contract year.
good.
And he's going to be on the bench sooner rather than later. It's going to cost him some money. I'd be like,
Yeah.
trade me to somebody who's going to play me. I really
That's a good
would.
point.
And people push back. Oh, he doesn't have a right to. Listen, I mean, granted, he's not a good tackle. We kind of all agree with that. But he was a starting tackle, and now he's not going to start. I'd be like, get me out of here.
But the thing that helps him, I think, in a way, is teams could see like when Dotson got traded, and look what he turned into.
Yeah.
Kendrick Green traded and became, an okay whatever. Teams might be like, you know what, maybe it is them, and they just don't know how to fix some of these guys. So maybe we
that's a
float
good
them
point.
a fourth rounder for this guy, and we
Yeah.
get him, and we flip him into whatever. Because and that's the way I look at it. You get teams like the Rams, 49ers, Chiefs, or whoever that think that maybe they know how to fix them.
Yeah.
It could happen.
Yeah.
So I could see him being like, yeah, trade me. I want out of here.
Yeah. One of my big losers is Calvin Austin III.
Oh, absolutely.
The Steelers drafted a bigger, faster, well, maybe not faster, as fast and better blocker at his position.
All my
Yeah.
notes is that with him. They drafted a guy with a 4.3 combination speed of hands and awesome route running that isn't 5'8".
Yeah.
Yes, exactly.
He's cooked. If he was cooked before the draft, but now he's really cooked.
Oh, and he
I
can
wouldn't-
block. I mean,
Yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if he doesn't make the roster at this point.
yeah, like when you mentioned Van Jefferson, I was going to mention him too because here's the thing: I'm looking at all these sites depth charts. It's Pickens and Van Jefferson outside, and
Yep.
and it's
Mhm.
and it's Roman Wilson at the slot, and then they have Calvin Austin at number 4. Dude, if the Steelers still trade for another big time wide receiver, then he gets bumped to number 5 on the depth chart.
Yeah. He might even be
So-
involved in the trade at some point just to get him off the
And-
roster.
I could see that too. I honestly could see that too.
And Quez Watkins is just as fast as him, and he's taller
Right.
and bigger.
Right.
So what do you need Calvin Austin for anymore?
Yeah.
You don't. That was another mistake. Who's up? You're up. Who's the next loser on your list?
Mark Robinson.
Yeah, I had him on mine too.
Drafting a guy with as many accolades as Peyton Wilson had, and then you put that with Patrick Queen, and then you landed Roberts and Cole Holcomb if he's healthy.
Yeah.
There's just what's Mark Robinson going to do? When's he going to get on the field?
Special
I
teams
mean-
only.
Right.
That's it.
And I mean, you're a really late round, pick from that draft. It just hasn't worked out. He hasn't shown them anything, nothing. So I think the writing's on the wall. I think it's a wrap for him too.
I mean, he never threatened to be a starter, but now he's going to get 0 playing time at linebacker.
Yeah,
Zero.
like
He's never going to see the field
Yeah.
as a linebacker.
you got to remember, this is a guy that was a huge project. He hardly ever played the position when they drafted him,
Yep.
and
Yeah, he was a running back. They switched
he
to
would
linebacker
show
in college.
spurts of big hits, against the
Yep.
run. But when they started passing, it was a wrap. And if he never, I don't think he ever became to where he could be, a decent off ball linebacker, just not good enough, especially against the pass. That's just the way I look at it.
Agreed. Agreed. One of my big losers I had is James Daniels.
Ooh, I want to talk about this too. Go ahead.
He's going to be a free agent, and the Steelers kind of drafted his ready-made replacement. Now, I brought this up with Nick on the last podcast, and he thinks they're going to sign James Daniels and keep McCormick around until Seumalo's gone, and then have him replace Seumalo. I don't know. I think this move kind of makes me think that they're going to try to save some money and not saying, and James Daniels is a good guard, but he's not a great guard. And who knows what he's going to be looking for money. If they can get him done cheap, maybe they keep him. But I think he may be replaced.
Okay. So I'm kind of a fair on this one. I'm kind of a Nick on this one. So
you think so?
So I got here Daniels or Seumalo as my loser.
Yeah. Seumalo's older for sure.
So, okay, there we go. At first glance, you'd think it's Daniels that McCormick was drafted to replace when Daniels' contract's done after next season. However, when you dig into it a little bit, okay, Seumalo after that's going to be 32 years old the year after that. And a cap hit at $10.1 million. Okay?
Yeah.
By the way, the only position McCormick ever played was left guard, not right. Left. That's what Seumalo is. So to me, that's why I'm kind of leaning more towards Seumalo for the pure fact of the cap hit, and he's going to be old, and it's the position that actually McCormick played his whole collegiate career. Mind you, I know it's Steelers. They might want to make him a center next year. and here's the best part about that joke. Guess what teams had him get a look at him at the Senior Bowl? I don't know if you noticed or not. They had McCormick lining up at center at the Senior Bowl.
Yeah, I think I talked about it on one of the podcasts. That he was one of those center guys that I thought the Steelers might take and shove at center.
I'm just like, what in the hell? Like, this stuff's crazy. So, yeah, I think it could go either way with Daniels or Seumalo. He could be the replacement for Daniels next year, but he's going to have to play right guard. He hasn't played before. Yeah. Or it's a long-term thing where, plan where it's when Seumalo hits that 32 age and they're tired of the 10-point-something million hit, and they're just like, see you, bro. Casualty.
It's a good point.
So that's why I picked either to be the loser in that situation.
Yeah, one of them's going for sure.
Yeah,
we'll see if they can get an extension with James Daniels before the season starts. Then we'll have our answer.
Yeah, I do think you're right. If they do that extension with him, then I can see Seumalo going bye-bye.
All right, who do you got for our next loser?
My last one is DeMarvin Leal.
That was my last one too.
Yeah, I mean, I figured we'd probably have the same one at the end here. Look, just looking at the measurables, Leal and Logan Lee are similar with measurables, but Logan Lee is just more athletic, and I just think that maybe they feel he can do what Leal could. They want that guy that they can be, the five technique, or maybe be that edge rusher, maybe in some weird set, but Leal just wasn't athletic enough to be able to do it. But maybe Logan Lee can. And I mean, look, when you're not getting a helmet towards the end of the season, they're just not giving you a helmet at all. The writing's on the wall. I think they're done with it. So
yeah, it's weird to keep going back to this right? Of these tweener, guys that really don't fit anywhere on the defense. It's kind of weird that you made the mistake with DeMarvin Leal. And yeah, like you made a good point. Logan Lee's a better athlete, but he's also a little lighter and maybe not as powerful as Leal was. So he's strictly kind of edge.
But he's got a motor. Like his motor don't stop. And I wonder if that's a thing that they really like and they want to covet and see if they can coach him up and make a weapon out of him that Leal could not be.
They definitely want that body type thing.
Yes.
As a tweener. They want it because this is the second time in 3 or 4 years they drafted that. So we'll see. It's a 6th round pick, but
there's something they're trying to do with that position. I don't know what the scheme is or what it is they're trying to do. But
because they kind of gave. Good. I'm sorry. They
kind of gave up. They're trying to do something there, and they gave up on it with Leal.
Yeah. They gave up on it kind of quick with Leal. Like they didn't really, unless he was really just not. I know Tomlin said something about him towards the end of the season, like he's got to want it more. So maybe they weren't happy with his effort.
I think it was practice. I think it was the thing in practice.
Yeah.
They were trying to work on stuff with him in practice, and he just wasn't showing probably that willingness or the motivation to want to do it. And now they are. If you don't look like you're motivated, then they don't give a shit.
Yeah, yeah. Um, did you hear some of the stuff about the trading? The Steelers. I read something. The Steelers wanted to trade up to make sure they got Fitanu because they were worried someone was going to take them. They were trying to move up 2 or 3 spots, and then Tampa Bay was trying to move ahead of them because they were worried that the Steelers were going to take that center from Duke. So there was all kinds of in the background, people
Backdoor
were going
stuff going
crazy,
on.
and everyone stood where they were, and everyone got the
And
guy
I
they
wonder
wanted. It
how
was pretty
many
wild.
teams got contacted. And you got to thunder, like, I can't talk. You got to wonder what they're thinking. Like, man, look at these teams, man. They're just trying to make those little moves to move up ahead of each other. And here we know that's not who they're really.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Even Tomlin said on the interview after the thing is Omar was wearing me out, being worried that Furtado wasn't going to get to us, and he must have been working the phones hard trying to get up a couple spots. Um, it's interesting. I mean, they really love Fuatanu. So, I mean, we were kind of a little bit meh after the draft about it, but the more you watch him, the more
the
you
medical
see
scared the shit out of. Well, it's the
yeah,
guys on
yeah,
TV that
Rappaport.
scared me more than anything.
Yeah,
They made
yeah.
it out like, oh, this guy's got this issue and that issue, and it's not over yet, and da 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 da. And you're just like, well, that really sucks. Why the fuck would they do that? But I don't know. It sounds like he's perfectly fine.
Yeah, Fuatano said he didn't know where all that stuff came from. Like he
Oh,
hadn't been
really?
injured since.
Wow.
Yeah, he's like
I didn't hear that part.
he had even inferred that people had just dropped that out there just to hurt his draft stock or something. He's like, I don't know where these people got this stuff from. I don't know, man. No, Rappaport's pretty keyed in. I mean, he was a top 3 or 4 tackle on most people's boards, and he fell to 20. There were a few tackles drafted ahead of him.
Clearly, there was something. Something was
yeah, it was weird
there
because the Steelers were like ecstatic that he fell that far. They were like doing cartwheels. Remember, I had gotten that person who told me that they were looking at a tackle, and I wonder if Fuatano wasn't there, if it would have been Guyton at that point because Mims was gone,
probably.
Latham was gone.
Probably.
I wonder if it would have been Guyton in the end, which I'd rather have Fuatano than Guyton all day. I mean,
oh well, yeah. I don't need the guy that's a Swiss Army knife. I want the guy that's been playing a certain. I've had this conversation about 5 times. I'm done.
Yeah, it's the position flexibility things. It's hilarious. And well, we still got to deal with it because McCormick's a 5-position guy. They're still saying Fuatano is a 5-position guy. Even Farabaugh brought it up when we were talking. He's like, yeah, he can play all 5 positions. I'm like, Dave's spinning around in his on his couch somewhere right now, just losing his shit. And Nick said that they could conceivably move him to guard and draft him the tackle at some point. If that was the case, it's like, oh my God, leave the guy at tackle, make him a right tackle, and let him stay there, right? I mean,
yes.
Why fuck around with this?
Please stop. Let him be what he's been doing. Like I just this shit's so stupid. Like I'm just so tired of it.
I am. I'm getting kind of tired of it too. I mean, how long do you think before they actually make the move and bench Dan Moore? I don't. If Dan Moore's still on the roster, I think he starts week 1, and then we go from there.
I think it's going to be basically when he gets Russell Wilson killed. Is what I think it's going to be. Yeah, that's going to be like the moment we're like, yeah, it's time.
It won't take long if Russell Wilson holds the ball as long as he did in Denver. And it won't take long.
And they're going to keep Broderick at right when he should be at left. And
that's the other thing I've heard. They're going to move. They're going to let Fuatano play left.
Look. At least you got 2 high quality players, not the guy you got in the 4th round. Yeah. That was a question. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
At least it's 2 high quality players. You hope that it clicks and it works out. But the thing about it is that we already know that Moore is not good enough. So, but hey, you're right. They could roll him right out there for about 4 games, and
we know how Tomlin is.
Man. You know, Fields is in the game because Russell Wilson has a concussion. Yeah, they'll probably be like, "Is it time? It's time, guys. Let's go ahead. Let's get Fuatano a look." That's what they're going to wait for.
Dan Moore at left tackle and Broderick Jones out of position at right tackle is a nightmare for the quarterbacks.
And that's
we said they were winners. We said they were winners, but if they start out that way, then they're losers because, I mean, Broderick Jones is good against the run, but man, he struggled pass protected on that side. It's just not his natural side.
He struggled. There's something about going to his right. He's just not as good. I don't know what it is, but
They say some people can do it and some people can't. It's
right.
just that simple. I mean, it's like it's they say it's like trying to write with your left hand because you're so used to doing stuff on one side.
I hate to use baseball, but like some people are just better on the left side of the field at shortstop, and some are better on the right side at second base. There's just it's the same kind of thing. Just something about the way your body naturally adapts to its left or to its right better. That same thing in football, same thing on the line. It's just one of those things.
And think about Broderick Jones. He's a young kid, not a lot of experience in Georgia, all at left tackle. And now he gets the NFL. He's practicing left tackle for a while. And then they just throw him in at right tackle in a game. Throw him in the deep end. Go ahead, kid. Show us what you got. It's crazy. It's
out
crazy.
Of position.
Yeah. out of position. That's what I'm saying. He doesn't play right tackle. It's just we know, Tomlin had a thing with Okorafor. We all know that story. But at some point, you got to put the team first. I think he made a mistake.
Well, just wait till training camp when we're hearing there's 7 guys getting practice at right and left tackle.
Oh, it's going to happen, Dave.
You're going to be like, really? Okay.
What's going to set you over the edge is when Fuatano gets some snaps at guard center
in a preseason
in practice. Yeah,
my brain's going to explode.
And same thing with the McCormick. He'll play both guard spots and he'll play some center too, and they're going to play around with that. But hopefully it all settles in.
See, McCormick, I'm a little okay with them tweaking left or right guard.
Yeah.
And then they have time to see what he seems to be, he should be better at right guard. Or I'm sorry, I misspoke. Left guard.
Left guard, yeah.
Because that's what he played forever. But if he looks like during practice or preseason or whatever, that he's can adapt to right guard as well, guess what? Now you do got some options there. If you're ready to move on quicker with Daniels or down the road with Sam out.
I mean,
but all 3 picks on that line, I fucking love.
Oh, I love it.
I mean, it's no secret with me with Frazier. I mean, I W guy, I love W. To see him get drafted, I know what he's capable of. He's really good. I know the RAS score kind of alarmed you a little bit, but I saw that he wasn't really quite ready yet. He kind of forced it. From what I read,
yeah, he came back from an injury too, so you got to take that into consideration.
So
a bad injury too.
But the film on him, people should see. But I saw that same film with Fautanu, and I saw it with McCormick. I mean, these guys were running and looking for someone to blast into another dimension, and it was awesome to watch. So together, man, like I really am excited to see that. Even with McCormick, even though he's 4th round pick, and we got Sam Allen Daniels. I'm still excited.
I would love to see what he can do. He seems like a really good player. I wonder why the change in philosophy the last 2 years. They didn't draft first round offensive linemen forever.
Dave, do I have to point out the obvious?
You got to throw my guy Colbert under the bus.
Yeah, again. It's Colbert. Like look, he is a Hall of Fame GM. He was done at the end though. He
might have been.
Look, what's that famous saying? All good things must come to an end. Guess what? His time came to an end.
I think they got cocky.
And no, and that's natural. You're going to have that. I mean,
they thought they could turn any offensive lineman into a good player, and
they're confident they can do a lot of things. And I'm confident one day I'll be a millionaire. Does that mean it's going to happen? No. So I think that he really was. It was time for him, and they needed to get with the times. And you bring in Andy Weidel, who
I think Andy Weidel's a big part of this too.
Oh, absolutely. Yes,
I think so.
He is all about the trenches. He was an offensive lineman, wasn't he? In his heyday as well. Yeah. So I mean, like this is his thing, man. Like so, I want to give Omar credit and Tomlin, but it's also Andy Weidel. There's no doubt in my mind that he's been a huge asset to them in this whole thing. So
I don't think we can downplay that. Ever since Ben Roethlisberger retired, Mike Tomlin's been on this. I want to pound the ball. I want to,
Oh yeah.
I want to play smash mouth football. He's been on this since the day Ben retired. So I think Ben retiring was a big part of this too. Like that made them switch gears. And I've talked about this with you before. I think, in Mike Tomlin's dream world, he's got a mid quarterback and a mid offense, and he's winning with his fucking defense. and he's holding that Super Bowl trophy with a 27-0 win because his defense shut the team out. That gives him, that makes him take hot showers afterwards because it gets them all excited. So that's a philosophy change. Now he doesn't have to share the limelight with Ben Roethlisberger anymore. It's his team. He's the big star now, and he's going to coach him up.
My thing is that they got a big arm quarterback here in Russell Wilson. So for me, I think they can do way better than that. It's just the wide receiver thing is the big issue. That's still the big
one thing
hole.
That
so
if you're an Omar Khan guy, this is the one thing he kind of let slip through the cracks. Well,
yes,
you could say two, but they can figure out the slot corner thing. I'm not worried about that as much. But the
we hope Jackson's decent. That's the thing.
That's the other thing too. But
he's got to be decent in order for it to be okay. If not, Omar fucked up on that too.
Well, I'm gonna defend Omar like I defended Kevin Colbert on some of these. Jackson's a Tomlin guy. Tomlin wanted him. You'll never be able to convince me any different because almost everybody else you hear is like, he's more of a zone corner. He doesn't, he's a little older. It's Pat Pete minus 3 or 4 years. It's one of those guys that Mike Tomlin fell in love with a long time ago, and he wanted. And when Mike Tomlin wants something, he gets it. Bottom line. Yeah. So I'm going to defend Omar a little bit on that one. I think Jackson's a Mike Tomlin guy.
Yeah, you're not wrong. Tomlin talked about how he's been watching for years and all that stuff. So yeah, I don't.
Now, how they acquired him, giving up Deontay Johnson when they probably could have just thrown a pick at him, you can blame Omar on a little bit.
Yeah, that there I was just like, good Lord, we could have gave up, something else, or at least got another pick, get us a higher pick than a 6th, right? It was a 6th in Deontay and Jackson, correct?
Yep.
Yeah, that ain't good enough. Not for Deontay. Jesus.
No. And this is something we talked about with Nick a little bit too. This is the big difference between Omar and Kevin Colbert. There's a couple of different ones. I think they're done with the problem guys. And I think that's why they were in a hurry to get rid of DJ. They're like, we're done with this. You look at the draft, like 3 or 4 of those guys were captains on the football team.
Yep, leadership awards.
They wanted leadership. They've suddenly did that. And the other thing that's different is, and we talked about this, Omar Khan doesn't give a fuck about injuries. And that's something that scared the daylights out of Kevin Colbert. He would have never drafted Peyton Wilson.
No.
Never. The guy, there was too many injury concerns.
Dude, he wouldn't have touched him. He wouldn't have touched Darnell Washington. He wouldn't have touched Corey Trice.
Nope.
Even
Holcomb.
He wouldn't have touched Fautanu.
Maybe not. If that injury report was true, if that was legit, no, probably not. So it's a different era. We'll have to see how it works out. It's a little risky, but I kind of like it. If Peyton Wilson turns out to be, all he has to do is stay healthy. If he stays healthy, it's a home run.
Yeah, look, I love it because if you hit on these guys and they're fine, it's a magnificent fucking hit on a draft pick, especially when you get out of the first round. Like first round, it's like
about the second pick in the third round.
But once you get after that, you get in these later rounds, and you start taking these kind of lottery ticket shots at guys.
Yeah,
fuck yeah, I love it. I really do because you're hitting. Because that's the thing. Corey Trice is a huge X factor in this defense. If that kid is healthy and stays healthy and is legit good, you just drafted 2 bona fide corners last year, and now you're really fucking set.
Yep.
Because if Jackson's not that great, or maybe he's a better slot guy, or who's the other one I'm trying to think of here?
Darius Rush.
Yeah, Darius Rush. Or if he actually ends up being, I saw a depth chart. He is their nickel corner.
Yeah,
on a depth
nobody else to put there right now.
So, like, if they do hit on him, like, say he is legit and he just needed to figure it out, man, dude, like, all your lottery hits on picks and then grabbing these guys off people's practice squads, dude, that defense is going to be legit. So, you got to take these lottery picks, take shots at these kids. I don't have a problem with it, and Colbert just wouldn't fucking do it, and God, it drove me nuts.
There's a fine line with doing it too much, and I don't know where that line is. But for now, I'm pretty comfortable with it. They can't keep doing this every year. They got
in the end. Well, see, here's the thing too. you got to trust your medical people, like whoever you got involved in this that checks the medicals. You better have a really good team, and you better really really trust them to make these decisions.
Yeah.
Because if you are really wrong, whoo, somebody's getting fired.
Well, like you said, it's a later round pick, and I heard Omar Khan say that our medical staff cleared him, and we have one of the best medical staffs in the league, and I trust them.
Every team says that.
Yeah, and you know what? Listen, there's shades of gray with this because
yeah, there is.
I mean, how do you give a guy with 2 shoulder surgeries, 2 knee surgeries, and no ACL a passing health grade? I mean, it's just Omar looked at him. He's like, "Come on, can we get him on the field?" And they're like, "Well, maybe." He's like, "All right, that's good enough. I'm drafting him." I mean, especially in Peyton Wilson's case, that one's a lottery ticket. That was 100% lottery ticket because there's a chance he never sees the field. Let's be honest.
Oh man, Pirates! They just gave up a home run. Guy hit it in the freaking river.
And on that note, that's all I got, Dave. Unless I'll let you suffer and watch the rest of the Pirates game in peace. You got anything else before we get out of here?
No.
You Pirate fans, man, you were all so excited those first 2 weeks. I was so sad listening to you guys because I knew it would come crashing down to earth eventually.
The depression, bro. The depression of watching this. Just Jesus.
You can follow me on X at SteelersSank16. Email the show at daver@SteelersSanctuary.com. Subscribe to the podcast, guys. That helps us out tremendously. Give us a like. Give us a rating on YouTube. That would help also. Dave, give me stuff. Let's get out of here.
You can find me at depressedpiratefan.com. No, I'm just joking. You can find me on Twitter at DMC3.
That was taken a long time ago, Dave. That.com.
Yeah. DMC3 SSP is on Twitter. You can find me on TikTok at Steelers Sanctuary Podcast or at SteelSancPod. I got the Sportsbooks guys at signupexpert.com/nothingness. That's all I got.
All right. Until next time, guys. Thanks for listening to the Steelers Sanctuary Podcast.